Right. All right. So good morning from this side of Africa. It's morning. It's actually very early in the morning here in Africa. Um, Today I decided I'm not gonna wake up late. I decided to wake up early. I needed to watch the Formula One finale. Anyways, you're welcome back to my YouTube channel, and this is a new video. And I wanted to react to something that I just saw today, and also address something that a guy named YouTuber called Kinyasa just talked about. So um and the reason I want to react about Nyabo Hanse is because obviously for a couple of days I've been watching their content. Uh it's somehow entertaining, and as much as there's a lot of craziness that goes on in that village. So today I wanted us to address the difference between Team Marwa and the other team, Team Haters. Now, with this in mind, I'll react to one of the guys that was watching his video today, and he just bought a new motorcycle. And if you don't know who I'm talking about Mike Kizzo. He's a guy who was introduced to us, the viewers, I think like 3 months ago when they were making the Dimwangos Road. And Mike Kizzo had stayed for quite some time. I actually checked his channel. He had started it like 4 years ago. But content was not contenting, or rather, he did not have a lot of viewership at that time when he was starting his YouTube. I mean, during the early days of his YouTube channel. And it's good because there are so many lessons we can learn from Mike Kizzo's journey on YouTube. It's a unique journey. People like I am Mayugno, they started and they just picked up, and it worked out for them very fast. People like Chalo Kush, as much as he does not reside in Nyabohanse, he resides in other part of this country. They started, and luckily, their channel just blew up. But for Mike Hizzo, it was different. He started, experienced a nosedive, but then after some time, it has picked up itself. And he's one of the guys who is actually having very, very positive viewership. So during Goku's construction, that's when now he blew up proper. He blew up proper. There are so many guys who were introduced to the viewers because Goku's project was massive. Prior to that, I had not watched the Mama Ants where Nasto's journey started and Mayugno's journey picked up. But for this one, I actually watched a large part of it. And one of the guys, Mike Kizo, he started his journey there. And luckily, there are so many well wishers who kind of resonated with his content. And after resonating with his content, it became a little bit easier for him to soldier on YouTube. So what has ended up happening that the video he did yesterday, he just unleashed his new motorcycle, actually a new one, a new motorcycle. And a new motorcycle would go for around 120, no, 150,000 Kenyan shillings. And that's not easy. That requires some kind of sacrifice. Now, put that aside because I'm not here to gossip about my kids. I'm here to talk about the lessons that may have learned from his new uh his new acquirement. Is there anything like that? His new acquired motorcycle, rather. Let me just put it that way. So if you think about Inyabohanse as a whole, there are people who will come to that village with vision, hopes, and some make it, some don't, depending. Now, one of the most impressive thing about Mike Kizzo is He came there this time intentionally. He intended to make it big this time. And we have seen a lot of YouTubers come to that village. They are given shout outs. The YouTubes, they hit the mark, the 1000 mark, like Fema Travels. Congrats to her for hitting the 1000 mark. And then after hitting the 1000 mark, they also hit the watch hours, 4000 watch hours. And that's it. Their channels become monetized. But some, instead of growing, they decline. And there's this one guy. You remember when there was a scandal, there was a conflict between Marwa and Gintu. So there was a rat in Marwa's camp by the name Lucas the Traveler. Now I've been trying to compare Lucas the Traveler's journey and the likes of Mike Kizzo. They started at the same time when Goku's project was being done. Now, if you're keen on YouTube, you will have noted huge, there's a massive difference in terms of achievements made by these two. So, Lucas the Traveler decided he's going to join the lazy gang to criticize anything out of stupidity that Marwa does. And then we have the likes of Mike, Kizzo, Daniel, and the rest who decided we're going to stick to our guy and we're going to remain positive and produce positive content that we're going to be giving the viewers. So what has ended up happening is the team Marwa, the likes of Ken Gore, we have Mike Kizzo, we have Ken Chronicles, all these guys, Fadela TV, and others, guys like Priska Sagati and Nasto. Go and watch their channels. There's a very massive difference between them and Team Haters. And you see, Team Haters, we have the likes of Ernesto. We have the Matiko, the Moremi, the Mukamis, the Gintu, Max One, I am Masubo One. Think about those people. Go watch their content. Look at what they're doing on the ground, and then compare to Team I am Marwa and what they are doing on the ground and the kind of achievements they're having within a very short time. Because that content is all over YouTube. Anything I'm talking about, there's evidence all over their YouTube channels. And if we strip ourselves away from that for a little bit and we analyze and we try to maybe learn some lessons, what would we say? You see, social media is a very, very funny platform for people. Social media has lied to some of us that if you don't have positive content, content that can build, content that can educate, inspire, you just have to be negative. When I look at guys who are just focused on producing real content, not even reacting, because I'm just right now it looks more like I'm reporting or rather reacting. But if you look at people who are on the ground producing content like I am Marwa and his latest episodes about the eggs, he's producing real content. And then we have people who have to wait for him to upload for them to react. We have the likes of Dimwango, they have to produce a real content. Then we have to wait. People have to wait for her to produce real content and then react. And we have David Jr., one of the guys I'm really liking because of his dedication. He's not perfect, but he's really dedicated to win it on YouTube. Some people take YouTube as a joke, but in reality, this thing works. I mean, Nyabohansa Village is a tool that can tell you that in YouTube really works. You think about people like even Wodemaya who are known globally, yeah, and think about the content they're producing. We have Aino, there's something like that, a guy from Nigeria, I guess. And there's another guy also from Nigeria. Um, he does a lot of real estate tours. You think about all those guys and you realize that YouTube actually is a job if somebody will take it very, very seriously. So Nyabuhanse has already taught us that if you focus, if you learn how to engage with your audience, there are slim chances. No, the chance is not even slim. There's a high possibility that you're going to make it on YouTube. Unfortunately, for the Nyabohanse young boys, they haven't yet learned. They have learned nothing. That platform, because I look at a guy like Lucas, he already has over 2K subscribers. And instead of him focusing on showing people what he's doing, engaging with his audience, all he's doing is producing negative content. And yes, there are people who are really interested in consuming the negative content. But in the long term, where does it place him? And this is also a challenge to even the guys who are producing the positive content. Where is the goal in the long term? Because sooner or later, soon or later, I can guarantee anyone that the Nyabohanse village content, sooner or later, that bubble is going to burst. Somebody's going to be needed to come up with new content. Somebody's going to be needed to become creative and produce new content. For instance, I just watched a video by Rocio. There's that video called Guilty. If you watch that video, you'd realize that Rocio has outdone herself this time. I mean, I rarely watch her content, but somehow I just watched the content today. And apparently, they were pranking Marwa. So they have been taking the eggs and, of course, cooking them. But the way they produce, the way she has directed that skit, it's really, really interesting. And it has a lot of views, by the way, which tells you one thing. People are ready to consume. People are waiting for you and I to produce content so that they consume. People don't want to be bored. People want to be entertained. But now, these villagers, the only thing they produce is gossip. And it's gossip that has no basis. It's gossip that is being fueled by jealous. They're not even taking their time to learn that this YouTube thing, there are different ways by which you can earn and you can do content. For them, they have to wait for David Jr. to blunder or to make a mistake. They have to wait for David Jr. to produce content and then they react. And mind you, they only react to David Jr., I am Marwa, and Dimwango. Three people from the same family who have already figured out that this thing works and it's going to work for the benefit of us. Imagine if YouTube were to end abruptly, like in the next 5 or 10 years, by the time it's ending, or by the time these people are quitting YouTube, they will have already done things that people would not have done in the past within their age limit. I am already just at 5 years old. Her sister is barely 30. His brother is barely 30 as well. But look at what they've done. Even people aged above 50 years in this country, they haven't even come close to achieving what these people have already achieved. Hmm? Which tells you one thing, that if you're really into this thing and you grind, there's a possibility that you're going to make it big in your future. And you don't have to be negative. You can remain positive, produce positive content, and As long as you know how to liaise with your audience, then success, I believe, is on the other side of the road. You don't have to you don't have to be negative, you know, and you don't always have to broadcast poverty, because one of the things I'm realizing about these people is, okay, it's true. Um, you can tell if you watch a lot of content from that village that they have been going through a lot of financial hardships, financial constraints rather. You can tell majority of them come from very extremely humble backgrounds. But you can also tell there's a lot of stupidity with among these people. They're not willing to make changes. And then I have not understood why they're really waiting for people like David Jr. to make mistakes, but they are not addressing the issue of alcoholism in that village, because I believe for sure that alcoholism is one of the drawbacks that is pulling these young men behind. If you look at the likes of Moremi, Mokami, Lucas the Traveler, Ernesto, majority of those guys are drunkards, daily drunkards. Every day they're just taking alcohol, and it's taking them nowhere. And then they come on the cameras to whine about people making progress. I love people like Anko. Amko is just vibe. He's just himself, and he does content that he believes in himself. He's so authentic. He does content that is totally coincides with his personality. Not faking anything. You can tell that's his accent, and he's willing to grow. And the last time I checked, he has a shop. He has a shop. And that's the kind of empowerment that these people needed. That the little you get, if that bubble were to burst, then the little you get from YouTube, if you utilize it positively, then you can start something. As we are speaking, with that motorcycle that Mike Kizzo bought, if anything were to happen, it's not on loan. He can make little money using that motorcycle. He can be ferrying people from one place to another as a Buddha Buddha guy and make a living out of it. He has already built a platform with a very good audience. And by the way, I'll tell you one thing about Nyabu Hansen. If you are fortunate and you get a good sponsor or a good well wisher or a donor or whatever from the audience, they call them subscribers. If you have a good donor who is willing to walk with you, because there are people who are just blessed in this life and all they want to see is transformation on a person's life. So imagine you're putting yourself in a situation like Lucas the Traveler. And this guy, I'll do a video focusing on him alone. This is one of the guys who is very, very foolish. He has a chance to grow himself, he has a chance to interact with the audience, but has chosen to be a negative reactor. Think about the other guy who was called Abobo. If you've been watching Goko's project, if you watched Goko's project, there was a guy called Abobo. Abobo was given an opportunity to promote his work, but he failed terribly. Instead, he became an immediate hater. And guess that what has happened to him? It has backfired. Now Agoko has no content. Agoko will never have work. Agoko will have been recommended for other jobs, but he killed his own job, and he has also killed the reputation. He can't also hang out with majority of these YouTubers. He just destroyed himself like that. Because one of the things I've noted with that village, there's a lot of negativity and a lot of jealous going on. And as I say this, by the way, I want you to watch. We have people like Mike Kizzo, Daniel, um, Ken Chronicles, and Ken Gore. I don't know whether you guys have realized it yet. Those people, these four guys, they do not come from that village. They're actually not Koreans. Daniel probably is a half caste of Korean and Luo, but I believe Mike Kizzo, he's Luo. He neighbors Luyas, and I noted that because I heard them speaking in one of the ethnic in one of the ethnic languages in this country. But what have these guys done? These guys, as much as they do not come from Nyabohanse, they came there with a clear mindset. We want to grow. And what have we seen recently? Daniel Maikizo, Ken Gore, and Ken Chronicles, they always hang out together. Their unity is something that even the viewers, the subscribers, the audience is really loving. They are always together. They're always working as a team. And if you look at one of the videos, I was explaining about the Somalis, the Hasidic Jews, and what's the name of this other group? There's the Amish. Their unity is power. Now, when these villagers do not unite, when they disintegrate the way they're disintegrating, they deny themselves absolute power because unity gives you some unique kind of power that helps you traverse everything. You can overcome any challenge when you become united. But with the level of division in that village, those guys, they're going to lose. Because if I were a village mate in that village, I would definitely be Team Marwa because there's a lot to gain. Because producing content is very, very easy if you are creative. It can be tiresome, it can be difficult if you're not creative, but it's also very, very easy if you are creative. You think about it. And maybe sooner or later, I might partner with some of these people in producing content because there's a lot to offer the audience, not just the village lifestyle and the struggles, poverty here and there every time. People also want to see growth. People want to see transformation. And I love the fact that Ayamaro built that villa to change the story about the village. Now look at the in-laws. The in-laws. The in-laws are having a good time in that village. They're having fun. They're having a blast here in Africa. So think about the stories they're going to have once they go back to Argentina. This is the fourth week they have stayed here. I believe they have maybe one extra month in Africa, and then they fly back to Argentina. Now think about the stories they're going to give. Because in the past, Africa was viewed as this backward um, continent. There's nothing positive about it. But now, things have changed. It's different. And I love the fact that there are people like Ayamara who are trying to show that there's a very different image about Africa. And then we have these villagers who, instead of working together, I mean, they do not need to be Ayamara's friend. They do not need to, they don't even have to be associated with him, but they could have taken the advantage, the fact that he is within the village, try and work together as a team and promote their village. Now, if the subscribers get the notion that that village is full of conflicts, then there are slim chances that people will be willing to visit that village. And the whole idea is to market that village as a tourist destination. And they're so lucky because the destination borders Tanzania. And, you know, moving from one border to another and experiencing the goods, the good lifestyle when we have a country and another country bordering each other, but it's one community. I mean, learning about those cultural differences and cultural similarities between Tanzanians and Kenyans within that area would have been good for them. Right now, they'll be building houses that be used to host the tourists. But what do you see? A lot of disintegration in that village. And that's one thing I would not have done if I were from that village. Anyways, guys, please subscribe, comment, and share. And there's a lot more that's going to come from me. Otherwise, other than that, cheers, and I'm wishing you a very blessed week. We're in the month of December, and I'll try my best to drop videos after videos after videos every single day. Others, I'm wishing you the very best. Cheers.